Let's go back to the Daily Beast, who said Trump gets unhinged, even for him, over Kamala Harris' 60 Minutes interview. Because the only way they can actually tackle the media right now is to shift it onto Trump, because Kamala did rather poorly. The Daily Beast says Donald Trump, who agreed to interview with CBS, and he canceled this, we know. He said, the interview on 60 Minutes with Comrade Kamala Harris is considered by many of those who reviewed it the worst interview they have ever seen. She literally had no idea what she was talking about, and it was an embarrassment to our country that a major party candidate would be so completely inept. In addition, her incompetence on helping people through the devastation of Hurricane Helene is being reviewed as by far the worst in American history, even worse than Katrina, if that is possible. I can't imagine anybody living in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, or Tennessee voting for her. Pollsters saying that the anti or negative vote in those places, and even places not affected, but with people watching what took place, will be heavily against her. This is good news because November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country, and we cannot bear 4 more years of incompetence. Make America great again. So they say Trump seemingly wants no part of that level of scrutiny. The Republican nominee for president accepted an invitation to a similar sit-down, but then decided not to participate. However, it's funny. A CBS spokesperson claims this. Trump's campaign says they never agreed to do it in the first place. They want to mention that Stephen Chung of the Trump campaign said it's fake news. The Trump team was reportedly worried about 60 Minutes fact-checking the interview. During 60 Minutes, Harris advised voters, blah, blah, blah. So here's the point. Where in Trump's response is it warranted to say that he gets unhinged even for him? More importantly, where in the article written by Daily Beast to address the issue did they ever mention anything, in their opinion, about Trump being unhinged? They simply said, Trump is unhinged. Here's his response. Trump should do the interview. What's your critique? What did he do wrong? The reality is, the 60 Minutes interview is bad. The betting markets show it. We're going to see it reflected in the polls. And the corporate press that wants to favor the Democratic Party has nothing to say about Kamala. So they just say, I don't know, Trump is bad still for whatever reason. Trump criticizing Kamala is a really, really bad thing. Thank you and have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing that they haven't reached any level of fear-mongering fatigue after doing this for almost a decade now around Trump, where it's just like, I don't know, if they didn't believe us before, I don't know, now this is really going to convince somebody. Even for him, even for Trump, this is unhinged.
Maybe this is just like, you know, the third pressing of the olive. There's just literally no oil to be extracted. They're making olive flour at this point.
I mean, I don't think the media component of this could get fatigued, right? I mean, it's very easy to be like, every day the theme is Trump is bad, and you get extra points if you can make him seem really, really bad. I think it's the voters. I think the voters are fatigued of being constantly told to fear everything. And especially right now, you know, Trump posts tweet after not deciding not to do an interview with an outlet. A major hurricane is about to hit Florida, where maybe people you love and care about live. Like, these things clearly are not the same. One is actually concerning and actually fearful. Trump has been tweeting nonstop or truthing or whatever for almost a decade now. I mean, I just don't think that it carries the same weight. And I think you see that disconnect in the media, what they're willing to say versus what people are looking for. Again, in the rise of these alternative platforms, I think that's why so many people are looking to Twitter for news, X for news. There's a report out on Axios about the fact that young voters or young TikTok users depend on it as a source of news, which is fascinating, right? Like, part of it is they're already hooked up, they're really into the app, but also they don't look to cable news. They're not taking an hour out of their day to like read the Daily Beast front page. They are going towards these other platforms. I don't know where you get your news from. And you have a teenage son. Is he interested in politics, or is he?
He just stays away from it all. And
Smart kid.
I don't blame him. You know, I don't. This narrative, like you're saying, over the last, I mean, they just keep on playing it over and over again. This guy's unhinged. Whatever the merits of it, I'm like fatigued as a voter from it, and like I would rather have the media address the fundamental question: is why is this race so close if this guy's so horrible? And he's completely unhinged. Like, there's this sort of implicit narrative in there, I think, that they think like half the country is a bunch of deplorable idiots or something like that. And they're not looking any deeper. They're just saying, this guy's unhinged. He's scary. January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. And like, okay, well, what's the root of this?
On that, I do really think the Democrats are getting diminishing returns on their attacks on Trump that are saying, oh, he's a threat to democracy. Because again, almost half the country supports this guy. And it's like, do we seriously think that half the country views him in this way? Same with January 6th. I think we're hearing dwindling amounts of those specific attacks on him. We're seeing a zeroing in on the Project 2025 fear-mongering. All the liberal podcasts I listen to have ads pre-rolled in front of them fear-mongering around Project 2025 and what they're trying to accomplish. But yeah, the January 6th stuff in particular, with how much they were focusing on it in the past and how they aren't anymore. That's also why the Liz Cheney endorsement is so important, because the reason she flipped was because of January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So
her and Kinzinger, right? I mean,
yeah.
they were the only two Republicans that were on that committee, and they don't think it won them any strength among their voters or their party. I mean, the idea that January 6th is the only bad thing that's ever happened to America in the last 4 years is just fundamentally wrong.
All of this is very dumb, because what's the real threat to democracy? Kamala Harris didn't win any electoral votes in any primary, but she's still the Democratic incumbent. The Democrats want to pack the Supreme Court and nobody's blinking an eye. But no, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. So again, they don't feel ironic.
Right?
There's no, they don't look in the mirror at all. They don't consider, oh, wait, what? And then they're also trying to overturn the filibuster. Oh, no, but the Republicans are a threat to democracy. So I don't know, not a hint of feeling like a hypocrite at all coming from these Democrats. And to zero in on what Kamala Harris's response to the hurricane so far has been, it's been to complain about Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida not answering his call. Mm-hmm. That's the response that we've seen from Kamala Harris so far, politicizing this tragedy that we're seeing in Florida and complaining that busy Ron DeSantis, I hope she's doing something more important than what? Talking to Kamala Harris to accomplish what? Nothing? For her to just tell people that she's supporting him? Nothing. Whatever she was going to do, talking to Ron DeSantis isn't going to change anything with that. So,
indeed, I think the Ron DeSantis thing. I think Ron was right, and Kamala Harris is the vice president. She's not the president. The president should be calling Ron DeSantis and asking about what's going on. And clearly, she's suffering bad internal polling. The response to Helene was very, very bad. So she's trying to call Ron DeSantis to make some kind of political gain. And he says, I'm not interested in this.
Ah, well, Tim, you see, she's the acting president anyway, because Joe Biden's barely there. So
agreed.
Ron DeSantis doesn't know who to talk to.
She can call to invoke the 25th Amendment and have Joe Biden forced to step down, and then I will respect her trying to call Ron DeSantis.
Well, how about she just what about like stop campaigning for a moment and actually focus on emergency hurricane relief? Mm-hmm. Appalachia got killed, and the government just really wasn't there. And now we've got this major superstorm coming in.
To be fair, the government was there for Lebanon.
Yeah.
And they were there. People who really matter.
And they were there to stop you from helping your neighbor in Appalachia. That's what they seemed to, one of the things that they seem to be doing down there.
Indeed. And then they call it fake news. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's videos of people who want to come in and offer help, and they're being denied. And then when this is fascinating. Did you guys see Karine Jean-Pierre rage quit the press briefing? So she gets asked by Peter Doocy, and he asks a very basic question. He says something like, Biden says your budget reflects your values. Well, he was able to find $157 million without Congress returning for Lebanon, but only $20 million is allocated towards hurricane relief. What does that say about his values? And then Karine Jean-Pierre calls it misinformation. Then, within like a minute, actually inverts her argument and agrees that there's not that much money left. They have enough just for Milton, and then after that, they're probably exhausted. And then she gets angry and says, we should get more funding, but maybe, and if it's not there, maybe that's what you want. And then she storms off. And then people made fun of her weird pinstripe suit, I guess, or whatever.
It was not a good look. She looks like she's dressing like Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, who was, again, she wore a lot of pantsuits, and it was not flattering.
It's not fair that you if you ever try to wear a pinstripe, they're going to call you Beetlejuice, because they called her Beetlejuice and they called Lori Lightfoot Beetlejuice. Hey. Now, the suit's okay. Don't make fun of the suit, all right?
Look, pinstripes are a bold-fashioned choice, and we love a risk taker in that sense, but sometimes you can't pull everything off. And that includes continuously trying to spin the narrative here. I mean, this is a total tangent, but Karine Jean-Pierre is also not an effective communicator. I mean, it was really a step down after Jen Psaki left. Jen Psaki, circled back to everything. On the other hand, she was pretty good.
I mean, really circle back to everything?
No, of course not. That
She
was
would
her.
say that and
We'll
do
circle
nothing.
back. We'll circle back. But she, even though I don't agree with probably everything she said, she was effective, right? There's a reason that she could then exit gracefully to go get her own show. That's not true of Karine Jean-Pierre, and they haven't swapped her out. And again, if this is the Biden-Harris's understanding of who is the best suited to communicate to the public, no wonder Kamala Harris is struggling in these interviews, because whoever is prepping her is doing a bad job.
When I worked in sales, I was taught whenever I had no idea about something somebody was asking me, I was supposed to tell them, I think I know the answer, but I want to go confirm and I'll circle back with you after. So
look, there are ways to do this. Like, if you don't know the answer to something, just listen to the question, be like, that is a great question. Let me go confirm for sure, or let me ask the person who does. I want to make sure I'm giving you the best information. Like, you can not have the answer and make the people feel like you're still on the team. It's avoiding the conversation at all that's worse, and that's basically been this White House's policy.
the thing about Jen Psaki that pisses me off is that she went from working for Joe Biden to MSNBC in like 2 weeks right after the job. So she didn't even skip over something. She didn't take a year off to try to put up some facade like, no, we're not totally connected. I'm not going straight from Joe Biden's White House to the newsroom to speak on his behalf.
She didn't even write a courtesy biography.
Yeah, write
to
a
give
book
her
or
some
something, something. Maybe go to some other news source, like a right-wing news source, to be their token liberal. But no, she went straight to MSNBC. So something to keep in mind with the incestuous relationship between media and the White House.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.